Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Tuesday edition of the EWC Boys and Girls Basketball Breakdown. Boys seeding was just released this past weekend. Last week we talked about the girls, and this week we'll be previewing some of the regional games coming up tonight, actually. If you're listening on Tuesday, February 22nd, we've got 5 different EWC girls regional games going on. If you're listening late, well, then I guess you're just going to have to check Wish Sports or Twitter or anything for the scores. I know we'll be posting them on our EWC pages on Facebook and Instagram as well. We are also on Twitter now, which is some news for you. We've been on there for a bit trying to build the brand even more, and that is a part of these breakdowns as well. I'm Jordon Lawrenz here on solo duty, and let's get right into it with the boys as we usually do. Start with the boys and with the girls, and comes down to this. This week, Drew and I talked about on episode 50 of Jordan and Drew the Sports Crew, we broke down the brilliant Roncalli game from last Friday. Roncalli coming out on top, and now we wait, right? Now we wait until this Thursday, February 24th, the final 4 EWC conference games. Taking a look at the boys' standings, Roncalli is 12-1. They hold at least a share of the conference championship, but they clinch it with a win. That is no easy task, though, this Thursday night, I should say, as they head to Kiel. Drew and I actually announced on WOMT the first meeting between these two teams. Kiel was up for a good majority of the time, and then at the end, Roncalli, they just came back and they stormed through. Kiel hit a three-pointer to tie it with 8 seconds left, and then a Yonda go-away layup to win it in regulation. I mean, this was one of the top games I've seen all year, if not the top game, and yeah, that was absolutely crazy. Can't wait for the rematch this Thursday night, and if Roncalli wins, they get themselves EWC champs for the boys. Brilliant, they get to host New Holstein. So if Kiel beats Roncalli and Brilliant beats New Holstein, then we'll see both Roncalli and Brilliant at 12-2, and both would hold a share of the conference championships as they split the season series. Right now in the standings, Kiel is 10-3. Sadly, they're just under and they're out of it. They could end up tying Brilliant somehow. If Kiel beats Roncalli and Brilliant would lose. Both those teams would be 11-3, but it wouldn't matter. Roncalli would then. That is also another way that Roncalli could win. If Kiel beats Roncalli and Brilliant, so Roncalli could lose and still clinch only if Brilliant loses as well. Not likely to happen, but you never know. New Holstein sitting at the bottom at 1-12 right now. Other games happening this Thursday: Chilton and Two Rivers. 3-8 Chilton against 5-8 Chilton against 3-10 Two Rivers, and then the final game is Sheboygan Falls at Valders. 2-11 is Falls, 8-5 are the Valders Vikings. But let's go into the seeding. That's what we're here for, to see where the boys ended up, what numbers they got, who they'll be playing, what sectional they're in. We're here to talk all about it. Starting in Division 3, Sectional 2, very, very busy for the EWC. You got to go down to the bottom half of the right side of the bracket where Brilliant has the number 1 seed, rightfully so. Jeremy Lorenz leading that team. Grady Geiger, big minutes as well. Good supporting cast for Lorenz as the Brilliant Lions will play the winner of Chilton and Oostburg. So there's Chilton finding themselves looking to play Brilliant likely a third time. Chilton is the 9 seed, so they'll actually head to Oostburg. That'll be on Tuesday, March 1st. So about a week from now, we will see, actually, yes, exactly a week from today, we will see Chilton and Oostburg at Oostburg High School. 7 p.m. are all the tip-offs for these games. Then you go right underneath them, the 5 seed and the 12 seed. Two Rivers landed the 12. They will head to Denmark. Denmark got the 5 seed, but if Two Rivers is able to make it past, they will play either the 13 seed New Holstein. Yes, New Holstein gets just under Two Rivers, 1 seed shy of them. New Holstein is heading to Southern Door, so that game taking place. Who knows? We could see Brilliant and Chilton, and then we could see Two Rivers and New Holstein, all EWC teams battling Friday, March 4th in this side of the bracket. You never know what could happen. Other than that, it is an all-EWC meeting just below. The 11 seed Sheboygan Falls will head to Kiel. Kiel and Falls will be playing each other, and this is a matchup obviously we've already seen twice in the regular season, but it's going to happen one more time in regional action. The first time these two teams played on December 7th, Kiel beat Falls 70-51. That game was at Sheboygan Falls High School, and then the rematch at Kiel High School Kiel beat them 71-44. So those are the scores overall when those two teams played each other. But other than that, the big story, Brilliant getting themselves the number 1 seed in Sectional 2 in the bottom half of the bracket. We'll be keeping a close eye on that as we move to Division 4, Sectional 2 in D4. We are looking at the 1 seed. The Roncalli Jets get the 1 seed, but the big story here, Manitowoc Lutheran the 9, Oconto is the 8. Oconto gets to host Manitowoc Lutheran. That'll be a tough road trip for the Lancers. However, if Manitowoc Lutheran is able to pull it off, these 8-9 seeds, you can never really call them an upset if the 9 beats the 8. But if Lutheran wins, we get our rematch from the playoffs last year where Lutheran stunned Roncalli at Roncalli High School. And my goodness, that'll be a big-time rematch if it does indeed end up happening. Only time will tell. But Roncalli getting to host either of those teams on Friday, March 4th. And then we head to Sectional 4 in Division 4 where Valders has themselves a home game. The 7-seed Valders will host number 10 Destiny. And if Valders is able to win next Tuesday night on March 1st, they will head to St. Mary's Springs. The 3 seed in this bracket is Howard's Grove, and the 1 seed is Sheboygan Lutheran. So Lutheran at the very top of that bracket. And the Valders Vikings going to look to punch their ticket and try and move forward in Sectional 4 of Division 4. So that's what we got there. Some good matchups all around. Can't wait to see how it all happens, but obviously still got to focus on this Thursday night. Who's clinching that EWC Conference Championship? Will Roncalli beat Kiel at Kiel High School and get it done? Or will Brilliant beat New Holstein and find a way to share the division championship? It certainly seems like that could be a likely outcome, but Roncalli Jets, they're hot right now. I mean, this is a team 19-3 overall, just beat Brilliant by 14 points. They haven't lost since February 1st, and then the last loss before that was January 7th, and that was that loss to Brilliant. So this Roncalli team doesn't lose a whole lot, and when they do, it's to good teams, and Kiel surely is a good team. So we'll have to see what happens in that second meeting, but let's congratulate the Brilliant Lions for the EWC girls clinching the conference 13-1 overall conference record, 21-3 overall record for Brilliant, and just a fantastic job. New Holstein and Kiel right behind. New Holstein was 12-2, and Kiel once again found themselves in third as they are on the boys, 11-3 there. That is the standings. We're just going to take a look at it as the season has concluded. Time for regional action. Brilliant 13-1, New Holstein 12-2, Kiel 11-3, Chilton at 7-7, and even 500 for them. 5-9 Valders, Two Rivers and Sheboygan Falls both 4-10, and then an 0-14 Roncalli sitting at the bottom of the EWC. But that is all come and gone at this point in time. We look to the regional side of things now, where Sheboygan Falls has a home game. Falls gets to host Denmark. This should be a fun one at Sheboygan Falls High School. Sheboygan Falls and Denmark. Overall, in Division 3, they're 7-17, where Falls is just above them at 8-16. That game happening at Sheboygan Falls High School. Chilton, they get to host themselves a regional game. As I said, Chilton was an even 500. They're 13-11 overall. Campbellsport is their opponent coming to town. Campbellsport really struggled this year in the flyway. They didn't win a game. They were 0-14. They have just one win on the season. 1-21 is Campbellsport. So, I mean, that one seems to be a lock for Chilton, but it's regional time, so never say never. You never know what can happen in these games. Two Rivers gets to host a regional game as well. They will be hosting Southern Door, a team that finds themselves with a 6-18 record. Two Rivers on the other side, 11-13, just 2 games shy of being 500 overall. Southern Door in the Packerland Conference, where they went 5-11, and again 6-18 overall is Southern Door. Roncalli will be on the road. It's going to be a very tough test for Roncalli. They're actually the only EWC girls team who's not hosting a game here tonight on Tuesday, not hosting a regional game. Coleman is 18-5 in D4, was 14-0 in the Marinette and Oconto Conference, and it is going to be a very tough hill to climb for the Jets if they want to find life in the rest of the season. And finally, Valor's 9-15 overall. They get to host a regional game, hosting Horicon 3-21 from the Trailways East Conference, where they found themselves tied last at a 1-11 record. Benjamin Harris coaching his D4 Horicon team as they head to Valders for regional girls action here tonight. That's all we got. Next week, it's likely going to be Drew Skyberg and Robert Shimmick on for about a half hour, talking about these games, the boys' games, talking about matchups coming up in the tournament, talking about the girls' games, how those went as well, a more in-depth previewing the games, what they expect, their predictions, all that sort of thing. That'll be coming up next week. But overall, guys, thank you for listening to another episode of the Boys and Girls Basketball Breakdown. I apologize last week if you watched or listened, whatever you want to call it, on YouTube. I had the wrong audio up. Thankfully, it was brought to our attention. It was brought to our attention a few days late, but we got it up and we fixed it. So if you missed last week's and want to check it out, there I went more in depth on the tournament for the girls and their seeding and all of those numbers and all of that. But yeah, that's what we got. Thank you for listening, and we will see you all right back here next week.